And and scene.
This isn't therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This isn't therapy.
Hello.
Hello, hi,
And welcome back to another fun,
flirty
fabulous
episode
of
This Isn't
Therapy.
Therapy.
Fist bump, fist bump, fist bump.
Oh, baby, you're all that.
Woo.
We can't do anymore, or else we'll get flagged on YouTube.
That's true. The podcast about all the stuff people are talking to their therapists about.
Correct.
My name is Jake Ernst, and I am that. I am a therapist.
And my name is Simon Palick, and I'm a director.
She sure is.
She has a name.
She sure is.
And on this podcast, This Isn't Therapy, each week on the pod, Jakey and I were just two friends who like to come together and have conversations about therapy themes.
and wear Chromatica t-shirts.
We do. We go back to the Chromatica era. So each week we grab our Chromatica ball gloves and we pull back the therapy curtain. We reach into the mayhem ball. We pull out a theme, a question of theory, a factoid, a theory. And then we just have a casual Kelly couch conversation about it. Why?
Well, it's because therapy themes are every single place you look.
That's right.
And this week we are talking about
Yeah, speaking of speaking.
something that you and I have been really on to lately.
Yeah.
Which we also want to turn the lovely listeners onto
Yeah.
lately.
Yes.
And that is company retreats. We're going to be unpacking that.
Yep.
And
The show on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not our personal.
Not our personal company retreats.
Not that.
Jury Duty presents company retreat. The company retreat.
Streaming on
Amazon Prime.
Yep. And the second one that we're going to talk about is texting your ex. This comes to us from a Reddit user that we are going to yoink and talk about.
I am so excited to see how these two things will be threaded together in the final segment. But I don't have to worry about that. That's a future Simon problem. For now, we just have to segue Sally into the first segment.
I'll see you there.
All right. See you there.
Okay.
All right. So
Enough already.
If you are still listening, good job. You've made it to the 3-minute mark. We love that you're here. So piggybacking off of last week's episode, but not even, but maybe a little bit. So last week, we kind of talked about a lot of stuff.
I was there.
I know.
Yeah.
Wait, were you? I know you were hearing, but were you listening?
Oh, that's such a good point. I probably was not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So in the event that you were hearing but not listening, I kind of went into kind of like a behind the scenes of like what goes into documentary filmmaking. And we kind of explored why do people like documentaries? And I kind of came at it at the angle of someone who, has been on the other side of it and how there are very strategic things that are done to make audiences like documentaries and like those stories. So piggybacking off of that, there's this like really funny, stupid show called Company Retreat. And for those who are not familiar with it, it is season 3 of
2.
No, 3, because they did 2 jury duties.
Nope.
They did 2 jury duties. One with James Marsden and then one without James Marsden. Or is that the same one?
I think it was just one, babe.
I thought it was 2 seasons.
This is the second season.
This is the second season. 1,000 apologies. Good thing I didn't fact check before I started talking.
Yeah.
Regardless, this show is really funny. It's a documentary comedy. And the premise of like, if you're familiar with jury duty or not, is the whole scenario around, at least in jury duty, it was a fake case. It was a fake jury. It was a fake, like every person was fake and an actor in it, except for one person. And then you kind of like the situation that they're in is just like absurd and it just becomes super ridiculous. So for this season, what they did is that they created a company retreat and it follows the one real guy who is a temp employee who is hired by this fake company called Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce. And he's hired as the assistant to the HR person to go on this week-long retreat. And so everyone on this show is an actor. Everyone in the company is an actor. All the people at the retreat are actors. Everything is like fake, except Anthony, the intern or the temp employee. And so comedy ensues.
It is so absurd. It's like an absurdist level of comedy that many times throughout the show, he's like, this can't be real.
This can't be real.
But like, what is my life? And it follows several different plot points that we won't spoil. So this won't be spoilers. This will be spoiler free.
But I think what is for the take for the relevance of this conversation is it kind of feels like a social experiment, right? In a way.
Yeah.
And I, did a little bit of like, why would you do this beyond it just being like a really funny concept, right? It was kind of, and you hear the creators and the producers kind of talk about it. And one of the things that they said is that the goal of why they're doing this, right, is to create a genuine emotional experience and foster real relationships despite the environment being completely fake. So they have different things that they're trying to see what would happen. It kind of reminds me of like, remember those prank shows or like what would you do in this scenario? Remember that show where it was like,
what would you do?
What would you do? Was that what it was called?
I think so. Yeah. And there's also Punk'd.
Yeah. So I feel like it's the same kind of like world where it's like trying to capture the moment of a human making a really real decision or having a really real emotional reaction to something that is otherwise completely fake.
Yeah.
Just to see what they would do.
Yeah.
And I find that so fascinating.
And I think to me, it's fascinating because these actors are so good at what they do. It's a mixture of improv and scripted. So they're kind of hitting their beats. They have marks that they kind of plan out in advance that they're hoping that they can bring this person to hit.
Yeah.
And the rest is like, they're just doing it live.
Yeah.
Right. Their character building, their world building, their relationship building, all live, which I find so fun and fascinating to watch.
What do you see from like maybe from your therapy goggles or just someone who's like innately interested in like human behavior?
Yeah.
What is it that you see is almost like, what value do you get in watching it aside from just being like someone who enjoys that? What do you see from like the human behavior stuff that you're picking up on?
One of my big ones is just how absurd it is. And I think it's that level of comedy that is so funny because it's unbelievable as a viewer.
Yeah.
That like, how doesn't he realize this is fake?
Yeah.
And at the same time, touching base with the really raw human experiences that they're all having together.
Yeah.
And being like, wow, I can see how he doesn't see this as anything going on. Because you don't see the cameras outright, aside from these documentary cameras that are following him directly and closely, because the ruse is that Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce is also participating in this sort of small mini documentary.
Yeah.
So there's this sort of camera crew that is following.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a lot of hidden camera work.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of plot points that are kind of scheduled throughout their time. So it's it's just really well done.
Yeah. I think for me I love how this Anthony, who is the real person, is like genuinely connecting to these actors. He doesn't know they're actors. He thinks they're real people, but these characters that these people are like personifying. And I find that so very, I mean, we'll talk about the ethical component maybe later. We'll just put that over here. But I'm just like, that is so interesting how, I guess, if Anthony was our test subject, like in human nature, we are able to connect with even the most absurd person.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're absurd, some of these characters and the stuff that they do.
Do you think it's because they got the setting right? I think about,
what do you mean?
I think about in season 1 with the jury.
Yeah.
Naturally, that's just they're pulling from a group of people, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get characters that are in that group.
Yeah, yeah.
Similar to at work, I wonder if the setting that they chose, a workplace, just has these characters, right, that are naturally kind of baked into being at work. So I think a lot of the archetypes that they chose for the characters like are people that we see at work.
Yeah.
And so then they switched up the setting from work into a company retreat.
Yeah.
So they had to pull all those characters out of their natural setting so that it probably does seem a little bit different or interesting that some parts of those people get to come out differently at a company retreat versus how they might behave at work.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, I thought they did a really good job of establishing the characters in the first episode or two where they're just at work.
Yeah.
And they're just sorting through kind of what are the day-to-day operations of the place.
Yeah, like right before they go on the retreat.
As they give him his like orientation.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they go away.
Yeah.
And then you get to see how all those relationship dynamics of employees
Yeah.
kind of changes based on what they have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their typical kind of company retreat events, right? So they have, you know, like the bouncy castle day. They have the concert day.
Yeah.
They have like the tasting with all the
Seminar day.
seminar day, the training day.
I just wanted that episode. I just wanted, like, they must have filmed like 8 hours of a seminar.
They
then.
sure did. They sure did. And shout out to you, Lisa Gilroy.
Mm.
You were in season 1 and in season 2.
And not recognized.
And you're
at
not
all.
detected, but that really speaks, I think, to the
Oh my
level
God,
of
her stupid seminar, the emotions thing. I was like,
so
yeah.
ridiculous.
But I wonder if part of the experiment is also how far can we push this? Because I feel as though the moment he realizes he's pranked, right, then it's done, the show.
Yep.
But it's so fascinating. Like, maybe, I don't know. I just have my hat on for a second where I'm like, I feel like there's those really absurd moments where it like goes really far, like the thing with the grandmother malfunction, the jerkin grandmother.
Yes.
But then there's some really heartfelt moments, like the
Beautiful moments.
in the first episode, there's a proposal.
Yeah.
Like there's these like really like human things, and I wonder if it's the bouncing between the two is how they kind of keep, in this case, Anthony from just not leaving.
And shout out to the writers. I think the writers on the show have really,
what a fun gig that
really
must be.
nailed it. Yeah.
Because you must be making it up as you go to a degree, right? Like you probably have your story beats, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know what Anthony's gonna latch on to or not.
Similar to in season 1. I'm not going to spoil it for season 2.
Yeah.
But 2 of the actors are also the writers.
Oh,
so the
okay.
writers are like in there. They're
Yeah.
like doing it, and they're like, they have eyes on, right?
Oh my God.
And so it's sort of like in live,
Yeah.
they're pivoting as they
Oh
go.
my God, what a dream job. I would love to
I
work
was
on
going to
something
say,
like
I could
that.
actually see you doing that
I would
because it's
love to
such a
work on that.
mix, right, of
Yeah.
documentary and acting.
Yeah.
And it's such a mix of improv and just the talent and skill that it
Yeah.
takes to pull off something like that.
Because it's not even that type of improv. Like, it's not even just like gakadikika jokes. It's a type of
No.
improv where it's like story based.
Yeah.
And I love that type of
Building.
improv. Yeah, I love that.
And not punchline funny.
No, it's like long form. The technical term would be like a long form
Yeah.
improv.
But it's funny because because of their characters, they do get to be punchline funny.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many clippable moments, I think,
Yes.
in the show
Some
are-
we can't repeat.
that are just like, it's just funny.
Okay, I want to ask you a question though. So, the whole thing about can real relationships form with people who are pretending to be real people? I kind of like abstract that for a second and I'm like, we're coming off of the AI conversation from last week. This feels like a human trait that we are able to connect with things that maybe aren't real or have emotional attachments, like I think to like a toy or something.
We
Right.
have relationships with things that aren't real all the time. Yeah.
So what is that? That's part of our makeup. Like, what is that? Is that like a survival instinct or is this like a relationship-y thing? Like, I'm just curious about that specific human trait.
Yeah. It goes down to attachment and bonding.
Okay.
But then there's also kind of another layer of this called object relations,
Mm-hmm.
which is that we have relationships with objects all the time. It's an example of this would be a child who is scared in the night will find comfort in their blankie. And so that's called a transitional object, where they have outsourced a human need, right, which is maybe for comfort and soothing, and they've transitioned it or put it into an object. And so they can find comfort from a stuffed animal or a blankie in the absence of a caregiver. Same kind of deal, that we're always bonding and attaching to various degrees with certain things and people. And yeah, these are real relationships that happen.
Yeah.
I guess
cur-
another example would be
Yeah.
when you're online and you're building a relationship with maybe someone in a chat room and you've
Yeah.
never seen their face before,
Yeah.
right? That is a type of relationship. That is a type of connection.
Yeah.
And I think the hard part is the switch and the realization that, oh, that's not really your name.
Yeah.
That's not really who you are.
Yeah.
All those behaviors that I got used to
Yeah.
isn't actually you because you're an actor and you're someone different.
Yeah.
So I think that the switch and the transition away from that
Yeah.
relationship, I think, is the hard.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's
piece.
obviously this all leads to the reveal at the end, and that's not a spoiler. But like, we won't say anything about it. But that, maybe let's talk about that, and maybe that's where the ethical question about it, because what does it mean to pull the rug under someone? Because that, we were talking about exploitation last week. The whole thing is exploitation in a way, right? And I don't mean that in a nefarious way. I just mean like the nature of, you're exploiting someone, you're putting them in a situation, right? And everything around them is fabricated, and because you're trying to curate a reaction or to see what would happen, right?
Yeah.
For entertainment, right? So we know that that's the conversation, but I'm kind of curious about, maybe from your angle, like what happens to people when you realize that your reality that was around you is not actually your reality.
That I think that's such a good word. It's a big reality shakeup,
Yeah.
right? And so let's think about it on a spectrum. There's deception, there's manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
then there's betrayal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And beyond that, there's the delusion, and that's the reality conversation that you were talking about.
Mm.
That sometimes your reality gets so mixed up that delusional ways of thinking can also be complicated in that. I think in this case, this is deception
Mm-hmm.
with some manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
But what's maybe more important is his reaction
Mm-hmm.
to being deceived or being manipulated. And if he feels betrayed, that might even show up as trust and trust issues
Yeah.
in future scenarios like this. There's a completely separate show, but it's the same concept where they go into the behind the scenes of this entire show. So on Amazon Prime, you can also see there's a completely separate show where they go into the background of every episode.
Yeah.
And in the very first episode, they bring him and Ronald from season 1
Mm-hmm.
into this little cafe, and they're just there to meet, right? They're there to meet and say, "Oh, yo, hey, what's up? That happened to you too? Wasn't it crazy?"
Yeah.
It's so weird that like we both are the only people that can like really understand what this is like.
Yeah.
But even that moment was a full deception and a full ruse. The waitress and all the other people in the cafe
Yeah.
were actors. They
Oh.
were not real. So they did it again.
Okay.
They kind of pulled it on them again.
Yeah.
And so there was microphones in the salt shakers, the ketchup. And so the director calls them
Yeah.
and basically says, "Hey, sorry, we had to do it to you one last time."
Oh no.
And so both of them, I think because part of it is like they were being good sports, and I think they understand,
Yeah.
psychologically they understand that it's not manipulation as in power.
Yeah.
It's manipulation as in like hee hee ha ha,
Yeah. Yeah.
like trickery. But they both were kind of like, "Oh my gosh, you got us again. Like,
Mhm.
how do we even trust like anytime we are anywhere near these people that
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
going to kind of do
Never gonna
something?"
trust anyone ever again. Anytime something weird happens, you're gonna be like, "Wait, am I still
Yeah.
on the show?"
So I think it is a spectrum. Like I
Yeah.
think for the two men that this happened to,
Mm.
I think it seems to me that at least, they're doing a lot of press about it. So I don't imagine they have major emotional damage from this. And there's
Yeah.
probably really good emotional support on site for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in any case, they're engaging with it in good
Yeah.
spirits. They're like,
I'm just so curious about that, like from a very human thing, like even just outside of the show and how these guys responded, just that idea of
Yeah.
like how we like maybe it is like a yearning to be connected to people, to belong, and all of that stuff sort of drives us to, when we find it, when we taste it, like we're like, why people fall in love having never met or something, or like you get attached to objects and stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm just curious about like, I feel like every human to a degree wants to belong, wants to be in
Mhm.
connection, wants to love and be loved. I like, and then when you realize that the thing that you loved isn't real or what you thought it was, I'm so like, that is just like a very specific level of like grief in a way,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and yet we do it all the time to varying degrees throughout our lives. And I guess I'm just curious as to like why we do that. Like, why do we have this makeup?
Well, we have mixed feelings about a lot of things, right? It's not just moments of deception or betrayal.
Mm.
It's in our nature to feel many ways about something.
Mm.
And so it might be the case that you're kind of like, oh, that was really messed up. I don't like that happened.
Yeah.
Or there's another part of you saying, oh, I can see the humor in that. That's really funny. And I was tricked.
Yeah.
And the outcome that it kind of gave me at the end, again, I won't spoil it,
Yeah.
was positive.
Yeah.
And so I imagine there are mixed feelings, yes.
About it.
And I'm sure that sometimes a lot of the uncomfortable feelings around it can spark up that grief cycle for
Yeah.
sure.
It's the last thing I'll say is like everything I think of like Survivor, for example, or like anytime you're in a game environment where you're like Big Brother.
I love that we're going back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where you have to, you're almost coming to this environment which is artificial, and you're coming whether or not you know the other person, and you have like a role to play.
Yeah.
And you play the game, and who you are in the game is not necessarily who you are in the real world, but the people and the attachments and the relationships. Like they often say this in Survivor is like our relationship is real, but I'm playing the game.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to deceive you, and I'm going to have to lie to you. Who I am in the game is not who I am in real life. And I just find that endlessly fascinating. This like ways in which these shows kind of give us an opportunity to see like, what would you do?
Yeah.
What would you do in this scenario?
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you take it with a grain of salt?
Well,
Or would
this
you-
is called splitting, right? Like when we split ourselves in half or into
Yeah.
multiple parts.
Oh, okay.
In order to survive certain scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And actors are really good at using that muscle to be able to shift in and out of different frames. What would I do?
What would you do?
I'd be so interested into it. I think I would be onto it. I think I would like to think. I'm sure everyone would say that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone would say that. But I think that I would be a good sport. I think I would be like, oh, okay, you tricked me. It's all for TV. Can I see it before it gets released?
Yeah. They're like, no,
Yeah.
you sign that away.
Yeah, right.
No,
Right.
you don't have that power.
What about you?
I feel like I'd have the same boat as you, where it's like, I think I would want to be part of the trickery.
You, of course.
I would want to be more part of the
and
trickery.
you would want to do it to me.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. But unfortunately, you and I cannot play these games together
We
because
cannot.
multiple times, one of us will turn on the other very quickly, even though we've had a conversation that says, I need you to trust me. And they'd be like, I don't trust you.
Literally.
I think it's because we're just very good at like, I think we have a muscle to see and pick up on very small little things. And I think we tap into that when we're playing these like games like The Traitor or Werewolf and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately you and I apply to each other where I'm like, well, you looked weird.
Yeah.
And you never do that. Or the tone of your voice, it never sounds like that when you say that thing. Jake's the werewolf.
The level of paranoia
Yeah.
that I felt playing Traitors with you
Yeah.
was unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Which is wild because I remember after I'm being like, you need to trust me.
And I was like, I can't.
I'm like-
I literally can't.
And then what did it turn out?
Because-
Was I a traitor?
No.
I was a faithful.
No, you were not.
And neither were you, but I was like,
Sister,
Jake's a traitor.
You thought I was too.
I did. I'm guilty.
But no, I was so paranoid
Mm.
with you, and I don't know why.
No,
That's a fascinating layer of it too, right?
that's so funny.
In any case,
Okay, let's move on to the next segment.
Let's take a quick break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about texting your XYZ.
Perfect.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Perfect. See you
Here we
there.
go.
This is coming to us from the wonderful world of Reddit.
You love a Reddit.
It is just, well, it's so narrative rich that I just feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of good, juicy human stories there.
Yeah.
And
I
it's also
agree.
one of those like text-based platforms that isn't like what's the word?
Boring?
No, it's there's anyway.
Come se dice?
Yeah, there's something about it that doesn't feel like it's trying to sell me something or grab my attention, even though those things are baked into the platform.
Yeah. But I feel like the Reddit started on its own as like a community like forum.
It reminds
And
me
it
more,
still
it's
is.
bloggy.
It is bloggy.
It's bloggy.
It's very like Tumblr
Exactly.
vibes.
It's bloggy, so I like that.
Yeah.
And this Reddit user wrote, "So I texted my ex 1 year later, ... And I'm going to read it and then we're going to talk about it. And it goes like this. I texted my ex a couple days ago. Already up to
We're
a
keeping all of that in.
great start.
Yeah.
That's my tongue tie. I texted my ex a couple days ago.
Okay.
It has been just over a year since we broke up. About 7 months into the healing process and no contact, I signed up for therapy for the first time. A lot has been unpacked since then, and now I see the relationship in a new light. Truthfully, I would be willing to reconcile and work things out if he agreed after meeting. We were together for 3 years, and I considered him my best friend. The last year showed me I am fine without him or his romantic love in my life. However, it also helped me realize that I do want a loving relationship in general. I still want a romantic connection with him, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. If I'm being honest, I do still love him, and I would like to explore the option of reconciliation. Do I flat out tell him that? I feel like I'm in a different place now. I am looking to meet with him Wednesday of next week, but also wondering
Where? Drop the details. Let's all show up.
but also wondering if meeting him will be a mistake or a setback. Discuss. Wait, that took a bit of a turn. And I'm meeting with him on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I kind of missed some details there. So I don't know if this user reached out or if he reached out. But in any case, it looks like there's a meeting planned.
Yeah. And it's on Wednesday.
And what do you think about this? This is a complicated scenario.
I think it's a complicated scenario.
I mean, I don't know. I think that there are probably many ways to see this, but let's maybe try to tease apart some of the threads. I'm thinking about a scenario where maybe there is a breakup and it's amicable, right? Two people are like, yeah, we're not really right for each other. We're going to split and we're going to have to go our separate ways. Then I'm thinking about a scenario where it doesn't feel on both sides that it is mutual or amicable.
Yeah.
And there's like a complete separation and a difference between two people.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking about kind of what is being painted here, which is sort of this middle space of like, we need to take time away and life might bring us back together.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure if or how that will happen.
Yeah.
And what that will look like. And I think what I was going to call them the lovely listener.
Lovely listener.
Whoa.
Call them that.
Whoa. I think what the user on Reddit is really pointing our attention to, which is there are so many ways to play this, and maybe also assuming that there's one right way. And I don't think that's the case.
Of texting, yeah.
I think that there's only your way. There's your way of doing it, and sometimes when we have self-trust, we can better clarify what we need and what we want out of a situation. So it very well may be the case, right, that after some healing or taking some time apart, that this person was like, you know what, actually, I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
And we're meeting at a different time and place, and where we were for that 3-year relationship was at a very different place in our lives.
Yeah.
And so coming back feels like a healthy decision.
Yeah.
That might be the case.
But it sounds like, I know they say that they're in a different place, but it doesn't sound like it.
Well,
It sounds like.
well, can we talk about that? Because
that's the part where I'm a little, we don't know who this person is, but that's the part where I'm a little like, are you in a different place? Because you just straight up said that you were like, I could see myself romantically getting back together with him.
well, okay, then let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's separate ourselves from this story
Yeah,
of
okay.
having
You
just
mean physically? Let's separate ourselves.
Let's boundary this.
Let's finally cut the umbilical cord that's between you and
Exactly.
me. Let's do it.
Let's cut ourselves loose from this story.
Yeah.
I'm saying let's use this story as a composite and not just talk about this one person
Fair.
and speculate on one
Fair.
on one person.
Thank you. Thank you for
Let's-
checking me.
Let's create
You did this. The bus was coming and you said, yoink, you're not stepping on the road. And I said, thank you. Thank you. I'm a
well,
little annoyed that you yanked me so hard, but I'm glad you did. Yeah.
Well, let's just say we don't have to give one person this like fabulous advice. Let's create a composite
Okay, I love that.
character.
Yeah.
Her name should be
Sandy.
Please welcome to the stage.
Sandy.
All right, so Sandy's having a really difficult time in her relationship, and
Yeah.
she's really struggling here.
Yeah.
She's trying to figure out, should I stay or should I go? Am I in or am I out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take some time away, and now I've done some work on myself, and now I'm ready to go back into the deep end.
Yeah.
You just said,
Yeah.
I don't think you're ready.
Yeah.
What part of Sandy's story do you kind of see as like, I don't know.
I would say, okay, wait, I'm going to go and like myself a little bit. I would say it almost feels like, I think sometimes in these scenarios that are very complicated and like obviously you have history and romantic feelings and all of that, that's so hard to navigate. I don't think anyone in the history of ever knows how to do this correctly, because I don't think there is a correct way. I think there's a lot of like missteps or like trying it, like, am I emotionally ready to go do this? And like, well, something about you makes you feel like you're ready to do the coffee. So it's almost like, hey, trust that. And then if you go for coffee and then you leave that being like, fuck that guy, or, oh man, now I'm more confused than ever, then I'm almost like, oh, then now you have more information
Yeah, right.
as to how you feel about this. If you're more confused than ever, but you're kind of on this, like, you know, I'm on this healing journey. Well, it sounds like, well, don't talk to him then again. Don't do another coffee.
Yeah.
But it's so easy for me to obviously say these things, not knowing Sandy. But I'm just, is this the area you want me to talk about, ma'am?
I know, right?
Doctor?
I know, right?
Your
Because
Honor?
I know. And maybe let's just go back to the beginning of the prompt, which was, I texted my ex a couple days ago. It's been over a year since we broke up. I flat out tell him that I want to get back together. I'm looking to meet with him on Wednesday of next week. So maybe I misread that. There isn't something scheduled. But I think what the question is what does that re-engagement process look like?
Yeah.
What does that look like to say, hey, I wanted something at this time and now I want something different instead. And sometimes you're in a stalemate, right? Both people might want something or be open to something. But if that bridge doesn't get created, whether that's through a text message or letter writing or a dove,
Like the soap?
yeah.
Like you just throw
Yeah,
a bar
exactly.
of soap at them,
Yeah.
like through the window.
With a letter attached to it.
And then carved into the soap is, do you love me? Why or and?
Check yes or no.
Yeah.
I'm standing there on my Juliet balcony, being pummeled with a bar of soap.
Like, ow.
I'm like, ow.
Ow. Oh, this is
Kevin.
Stop.
Kevin, is that you?
And then you go take a luxurious bath and you're like, wow, my skin has never been soft. This pod is sponsored by Dove.
You're like, my skin is so I should text my ex.
I should text my ex. In your this is so stupid. In your therapy, I guess in your work that you do.
And this comes up off. This is a theme. This is a therapy.
I imagine
theme.
so.
A theme of all themes.
So what are some
Hello.
of the things that you notice from your vantage point as to like how when people re-engage with someone that maybe there was a relationship, which, you know, I just pictured like yarn or something, like you were once like this tied together and now you're not, and you see someone who's like, oh, I want to engage with that person again, whether that be a romantic relationship, whether maybe it's platonic, maybe it's like a parent or something. What are some of the things that you maybe, I hate to say like coach them through, but like what are some of the considerations that go into that, I guess, that revisiting of someone that you've had a history with, that you're no longer with, and maybe there's pain, maybe there's love, maybe there's a lot of messiness in it.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of some questions, right? Things like, how did it happen? Why did it happen? Why now? And I think a lot of the answers to those types of questions inform where that person is at, whether or not rejoining would make sense, whether or not texting them would make sense, defining how they want the relationship to look and at what distance. One of my favorite exercises to do this in therapy is if you get a circle and you write your name in it, and then all the people in your life, you're going to create this little string, this little branch off from that middle circle. And then what you want to do is scale up the distance that you want with that person in relationships.
What do you mean, like how far the line is from you?
So for example...
Oh, so you like visualize it.
Yeah. So for example, I would have my name, Jake, in the middle of a circle. And then I would have Simon, like maybe...
all the way
exactly.
off the page
into
in
Mars.
the other room.
Yes, exactly.
You get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do this with friendships, family relationships. It's a good visual to sort of to figure out, okay, if this is sort of where Simon is, where do I want my ex to be?
Interesting.
If this is where my mom is, where do I want this really tough relationship with my sister to be? How do these compare, and what are the strengths of those relationships? That might be an invitation into a conversation around, oh, yeah, I do have 5 really good people that are in my close orbit,
Yeah.
and inviting this other person close,
Mm.
what does that do to my other relationships? That's step 2,
Wow.
is to see what happens to those strings in other relationships.
Right.
So when you map that out, this is called relationship mapping.
Mm.
When you map that out, it's fascinating to see what happens and what maybe drives our choices.
Right.
Sometimes it is love, sometimes it is pure emotion,
Yeah.
and sometimes it is with healing and with onboarding some reason and saying, you know what, this actually does make sense for me in my life right now.
Yeah.
And so again, this is a good tool to figure out what are the strengths of the connection, but maybe what also boundaries do I need to put in place?
Yeah. You know what I also like about that is that you almost get to reevaluate, is this the right call
Yes.
at this time?
Yes.
Like, let me onboard some reason for a second through this exercise.
I use this all the time. This is so
Wow.
helpful for me.
It feels like a pros and cons list.
It is in a very visual way, right?
Yeah.
Because then what you can also do is you can use different colors or different maybe creative ways. So like whether it's a straight line or
Yeah.
a jagged line, or maybe it's a really like
Interesting.
knotted line
Yep.
between those two. Maybe it's a really big red line, whereas these are my green lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have like green close lines, that's very different than like a lot of fractured red lines
Yeah, yeah.
with certain people,
Yeah.
right? And so you can do it with coworkers, bosses. It's a good way to understand the strength of your attachment relationships and
Yeah.
the connections that you have with them.
Yeah.
And so I do this a lot with teenagers and friend groups.
Mhm.
Like so forming relationships.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see like how relationships change. So if, for example, if I say, okay, if this is the friend group, this is you in the middle.
Mhm.
If I take Emily out of the equation,
Hate her.
what happens?
We
If-
we celebrate.
Right.
Yeah.
If I take Jessica, because
Yeah.
she's sick that day, out from the cafeteria table,
yeah. Yeah.
what happens to the rest of these lines? What happens to these dynamics?
It's so much better. Also hate Jessica.
Right?
I don't know. Like it's like we're so much better without Jessica or Emily.
Yeah. So, and sometimes it's
Do you
just,
think she's sick because we poisoned her? I don't know. I won't tell. But thank God she's not here. Now I'm gonna be prom queen.
and now it's a green line for
Yeah,
different reasons.
yeah. Anyways,
It's a good way to make something that is really abstract, something more concrete and visual. Don't.
now I'm prom queen. I poisoned
I
her.
think that's my new vocal stem.
No, I'm prom.
Now
queen.
I'm the prom queen.
Yeah, perfect.
Jessica was never going to be prom queen.
No, she was. She was in the running. Even Emily was. But I got rid of them.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
All the Jessicas and Emilys out there, comment.
1,000 apologies.
No, let me know. Have you ever been prom queen? Let's take a poll. If your name is Jessica or Emily, have you ever been a prom queen? Let me know. Let me know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, to bring it back down to earth, I think what you are, this exercise, I love it because I think sometimes in these really like confusing moments where you have
Yeah.
a bunch of like thoughts and feelings swirling around, I think it is nice to kind of like take a breath, take one more second, and like apply, at least for me, like apply a process to something so I can at least try to make sense of all the swirly stuff.
Yeah. And
I
be
think
like,
it's so
where,
easy to just
yeah.
get caught up and act on like, you know, something. But something like this feels like, I don't know, it also like brings it back to you because I think you'll be faced when you're looking at this chart being like, oh, I actually like this configuration. Never mind. I don't want to text him.
100%.
Yeah.
It's sort of a question of where do we stand?
Yeah.
And then the next question is very crucial. Where do we really stand?
Right.
Right? Because you do the makeup, and then it turns out that the first draft is actually usually just an ideal circumstance. And we say, oh, wait, that's what I want to be true. And then we say, okay, let's do it over.
Yeah.
This time, what is really true? Where do we really stand right now? If I'm being truly honest and
Yeah.
truly real,
Yeah.
where are we? Where are we at? Then you get a clear picture, and then you can revisit the first one. You can go back to the first draft and say, how do I get from here to here? If this is what I want to be true, how do I get to where I need to go? And if it is true that, texting your ex, reconnecting with an ex,
Mm-hmm.
reconnecting with, your sister who you didn't talk to because of whatever happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Going over to Jessica and Emily's house and saying, "Get well soon." and just when they're about to return to school,
Yeah.
you get the poison flowers
Jealousy.
and you put them by their bed and you say, "See you tomorrow at school," but they're not at school tomorrow.
No, you say jealousy is a disease. Get well soon.
Get well soon. Yeah. Ugly is forever.
Get well soon.
Get well soon. And then you're prom queen.
And then I'm the prom queen.
I can't wait.
Anyway,
This has been so helpful.
I hope so.
I do.
I find I use this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so helpful for me to figure out what I need from people and
Yeah.
relationships and what I need in myself
Yeah.
to be able to get those needs met.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I make drafts of these kinds of things and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the reality.
Yeah.
All the behavior, all of the information that I have
Mm.
would tell me this is actually what's real.
Yeah.
I know this is what I want, or I know this is what I wish,
Yeah.
but this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I need to respond to what's happening, not to what I want to be true.
Mm.
I
Okay,
find-
wait. So this map is not is what's happening. It's not a reflection of
You want to get as close as possible to
not your ideal scenario.
well, maybe it's helpful
Or maybe
for both.
are
Yeah.
both are in, oh, okay.
It might be helpful for both,
Mm.
and then sort of see like, oh no, Simon on draft 1 and draft 2, he didn't
Mhm.
move,
Yeah, yeah.
and so we're good.
Yeah.
That-
Oh,
we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas like you kind of
Jessica and Emily on the other hand.
Jessica and Emily,
Yeah.
they have an orange line,
And they're in the hospital now because they've accidentally broken out into a weird rash caused by a tropical flower that is not native to this area of Missouri. But doesn't matter because by the time they heal and the ointment flies over from that exotic place, I'll be prom queen.
oh my god,
It's too
I can't.
and and scene. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You can see who that character is, can't you? She really wants to be dropped forever.
We have to go to a break. You know?
Okay, I'll throw to a break. All right, we're going to go for a break. And deep breath.
I won't be able to not think about that and not laugh. So I apologize. If I start giggling
Mm-hmm.
at random,
Yeah.
you know what I'm thinking about.
Jessica and Emily.
Yeah. And I'm going to
With
need
weird
you
rashes
I need you to stop it.
due to an exotic
I
flower.
need you to take this one from here. I'm still wiping my tears.
Anyways, so at the end of every single podcast, Jakey and I, sometimes we get a little woohoo and we don't know where to go. And so what we do is we have this tried and true segment where we throw it back to you all, the lovely listeners. And it's an opportunity for you to give us a question. I'm fighting for my life. A question. If you have a query, a quandary, or like something that like an everyday dilemma, whatever it may be. Because we believe that sometimes, you got to go to therapy to like sort out the tough stuff. But sometimes you just need to ask a friend something. So without further
And
ado,
without further ado,
it's time for
asking for a friend.
Why don't you read?
Oh yeah.
Why don't you
Oh
read?
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
How nice of you. Okay. I can't even. Okay, and it goes like this. Should you always have headphones in when out in public or on a commute? I'm just wondering what the impact this is having on us. Ooh, good question. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing it because I'm really vibing with a new album or podcast, like This Isn't Therapy.
Yeah.
But other
Did you
times,
say that?
I added that.
Oh, okay.
I added that.
Okay.
I added that part.
Okay.
Like a new album or podcast, but other times it feels like I'm just listening to something for the sake of it.
Oh yeah, I relate to that.
I also have noticed this a lot with, because I used to work in a school. I've seen like just the trends and stuff. I've noticed that there seem to be like, kids all the time like walking
Always
around with like one AirPod in, like just one, and I'm sort of like,
what is that?
tap tap, is this thing on? Hello. There's a background track. There's background noise.
Is it music?
Often, yeah. Sometimes in conversation with some kids, like they don't have the social manners to even pull it out. Like sometimes they'll be talking to teachers with an AirPod in. I don't know. Maybe that's separate from what this lovely listener is asking, but I think sometimes we kind of feel like we always need to have something in our ear.
Yeah. Something always stimulating us.
Yeah. That like is if the quiet, the silence, or the no noise is uncomfortable or bad. I try to do this as often as possible. It's like not, but I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
And be like, well, here's what I do.
I'm doing this.
Here's what I do. I mean, like I excuse-moi. I don't know. I'm aware of it. I see this all the time too. I do this all the time too. Having an AirPod in or music on just to have music on. Yeah. Even like while I'm, for example, cooking dinner. Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I don't see that as so separate than having music while you commute, right? Like if you're kind of doing something or kind of whatever. I think to me it's about balance. Yeah. That like sometimes I actually love walking home from work without music. Yeah. It's nice to just like take things in and not be receiving new information. Yeah. What do you think about this?
I think I'm in the same camp too as well. I feel like
it's both.
Like there are times where I'll be driving and I literally have like a weirdo. I'm like dead silent. I'm like not listening to anything.
You're like, why do I feel like a serial killer right now?
Yeah. Like to use the technical term. Not realizing that I have the poison flowers in my trunk.
Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, never mind. But I'll sometimes just like drive with nothing. And I actually really like it. Yeah. And even like in Toronto, we have streetcars. I actually sometimes I will put the AirPods in but not play music. And then that way I kind of, not that I'm like actively watching people, I feel as though it just gives me permission to be like looking off in a direction where I can like observe people and it not feel creepy. Right. Because I think we all kind of have that like stare. And I don't do it on purpose. Like I'm not doing like, I'm studying Meisner technique. Wah! Like I'm not doing that. I just say, I think sometimes it's nice to just like hear the world. Yeah. And like sometimes.
And be in it.
And honestly, like look up and like look out and like see things go by.
It is wild to me that we are at a time and a place in the world where we have to say that. Yeah. Sometimes, it's nice to just like
watch the trees
be in the world. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to just like, look up instead of looking down. Inward.
Yeah. Yeah. And inward. That's the thing too. Totally. I feel like sometimes I put the soundtrack to my life on and it's really fun. But sometimes I'm like, I'm tired of thinking and interacting with like myself. Like I just kind of want to just like give it a break,
I have to hang up the phone. I think I'm done.
Why? Are we done for today?
You are cracking me.
I think I destroyed you. I don't think in the history of I have ever gotten you to laugh that hard. Like I've gotten you to laugh, but not that hard.
God, y'all. How about this? I'm just gonna sit and listen. No, I'm not.
No, you're not. We're at the end of the podcast.
I'm just gonna sit and not laugh. No, that's not true.
I'm gonna be so serious. Yeah. All right. Well, if you like what you heard, please subscribe and like and comment. And also we're on all the social media, so find us. And we'd love to hear from you. It's actually been so great to hear all of the comments and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to submit to Asking for a Friend, there's an open link and you can do that. And it's anonymous and all that fun stuff. Any final things you want to say?
Sometimes I like to just sit in the world and just be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes just gotta look up.
Sometimes
gotta look up and looking in.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.
is in therapy.
Oh my god, I'm genuinely sorry for throwing you back.
I am literally crying. That's so funny.
Stupid.
It's stupid is what it is.